Let's maul in the Central Committee. Let's cringe in the Central Committee. Let's bog in the Central Committee right now.
Why would you want to talk about the most consequential event of the past, like of all year, is the districting? I mean, we have other stuff to talk about. Like, we could talk about, like, I don't know, we could talk about, like, you know, something else. But I'd love to learn. Okay, so let's take a look. All right. Here's how the first 2020 census results changed the Electoral College and House seats. All right. So, which states gained or lost Electoral College votes? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at these states, and we're going to categorize them as either California or Democrat gerrymander, Republican gerrymander, or fair map, right? And we'll do the same for all the states that gained a vote, right? And we're going to try to figure out how many seats the Republicans are going to get from gerrymandering alone, right? We'll try to figure that out. And I can tell you, we're almost certainly going to underestimate it, all right? I don't understand why Northeast states lost seats, because they've been losing seats. This is because their population isn't growing as fast as the rest of the country. Here, let me, there's a tweet that I liked from a Pennsylvania data guy. Let me see if I can find it. Here you go. Despite adding over 5 million people during the same period, we really need to expand the House. In 1910, Pennsylvania had the second largest House delegation in America, 36. It has lost at least one seat in every reapportionment since. So, 1910, they had 36, then 34 in 1930, then 33 in 1940, then 30 in 1950, and 27 in 1960, and 25 in 1970, and 23 in 1980, and 21 in 1990, and 19 after 2000, 18 after 2010, and 17 after 2020. And New York, similarly, they used to have the largest delegation, and 45, 43, 41, 39, 34, 31, 29, 27, 26. But apparently, New York was 89 people short of keeping all their seats. This is incredible. This is incredible. Each person matters. New York will lose a congressional seat after being short 89 people in 2020 census. New York State is about to lose one seat in Congress according to the preliminary results of the 2020 census. So this is basically what Republicans wanted to happen by scaring people from participating. That would be very disappointing to me. Willing to bet all the fear-mongering Trump did stopped enough people from responding to the census. 89 people died of COVID in New York retirement homes. Way more than that. However, Jeffrey Weiss, professor of New York Law School's New York Census and Redistricting Institute, called the conclusion a bit of a misnomer. Yes, if all 49 states had stayed the same and New York had counted 89 more people, New York would have retained a 27-seat delegation. Okay, so it's not a misnomer? Some observers were predicting a loss of 2 seats in New York due to pandemic migration and the anti-immigrant policies of the Trump administration. Although more people left the state than came in since the 2020 census, New York's overall population still grew by 4.2%. So along with New York, California, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia will all lose one seat in Congress. Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon will pick up the seats. Colorado and Oregon are both blue, both kind of bluish. Oregon's a blue state. Colorado is like a purplish blue state. So for you to figure out this by yourself without me, what do you need to do? All right, so you take state government trifectas. What is a trifecta? A state government trifecta is a term to describe single-party government where one political party holds 3 positions in a state's government. The following are variations of the term. All right, so let's look at the state government trifectas. Then we need to know, how do states redistrict? So every state has a different rule about how they look at their redistricting procedures. Okay, so first thing we got to do is look at this. So Colorado has a nonpartisan commission. Now Montana has gained a seat, chat. So they will have 2 congressional seats in Montana. They will now have 2 congressional seats. So they will need to have redistricting. So this is bad because Colorado has a Democratic Party trifecta. However, their seats are drawn by a nonpartisan commission. So the Democrats are not going to be able to guarantee that they pick up a seat. California has a non-politician commission. So they will not be able to gerrymander Republicans. That's bad. Who else lost seats? Okay, who else gained a seat? North Carolina. North Carolina has divided government. So that's positive. However, North Carolina's redistricting is not subject to a governor's veto. So, in other words, in North Carolina, they're going to be able to gerrymander for the Republicans. So it doesn't matter that North Carolina's divided government because in their redistricting laws, so that's bad. North Carolina, Republican gerrymander. Florida, Republican gerrymander. Oregon, Democrats may be able to gerrymander in Oregon. Democrats may be able to gerrymander. Okay, so that's +1. Colorado, Independent Commission. Montana, Republican gerrymander. Republican control. So that's gerrymandered for sure. So let's see. 1, 2, 3 plus for Republicans. Democrats 0 plus, or at least we don't know yet, right? Because it's a nonpartisan commission. Texas 2. So Democrats are going to lose 5 seats at least from the census because Texas is +2. Texas gerrymandering almost certainly going to get both of those. What's the majority right now? So the Democrats have a 6-seat majority. So if they lose 5 seats, that's -5 for the Democrats, docking them down to 213. And you add 5 to the Republicans, that's 217. So if everything remains equal, and there's 5 vacants. So that's the question. Okay, so we have Cedric. All right, actually no. They're 4. No. It's 4 Democrats and 2 Republicans. It's 2 Republicans. Okay. Okay, so on net, I believe this is going to end up. Democrats are going to go into 2022 with 221, and the Republicans, 222, and the Republicans are going to go in with 214. So -5 from the 222, and or not 5. Yeah, -5. And the Republicans are going, so the Democrats will have 217 and the Republicans will have 219. Just assuming that they can't make the gerrymandering worse. And I think that is a terrible assumption. So just based on the census alone, assuming that the Republicans could get a very similar result to what happened last time, on net, the Democrats are going to lose. Now, and why do I say that? Because in the states where the Democrats lost seats, they don't have the ability to gerrymander it so that the Republicans are the ones that lose the seat. But where the seats are going, the Republicans have pretty much the authority and ability to make sure that extra seat is a Republican. Does that make sense? Is it sus that New York lost a congressional seat by 89 votes? Somebody's got to get fucked. That's how it is in these zero-sum games. I know so many people who wouldn't take the census. I wonder why. I wonder how all those seats were lost. Yeah. I'm moving to Houston this summer, and I'm pretty sure Eye Patch Man is going to be my rep, and I can't wait to organize hard as fuck to try to get him out. Well, they're going to gerrymander you so hard, your head is going to spin. Meanwhile, Donald Trump presided over this census, and for the first time ever, California lost a seat. I'm sure that's not by coincidence. So the reason why I'm explaining this to you And we're talking about politics in a substantive way that's never been done by 99% of the people. This is kind of the structure that you see. The Democrats are losing the game. The game of drawing districts. The Republicans have it on lock in the places that are gaining population. And the Democrats, where they have control, they don't really have control. That's the problem. Where the Republicans are gaining seats, they're able to gerrymander. Where the Democrats are losing seats, they're not able to gerrymander. So the nonpartisan commission might take out a Democrat. You know, an incumbent Democrat might lose. It actually might be even worse than my back of the envelope calculation. Like, it could end up that the Democrats lose a seat out of California and the Republicans gain a seat out of Texas. So that's a net 4 flip. It could be even worse than I projected. I'm just assuming that it's going to largely shake out even Steven. But that's not actually what could happen. It could be worse. Illinois lost a seat, but the Dems will gerrymander the shit out of redistricting. So on net, Obi-Wan, the best they can do is be neutral because the Republicans are gaining seats and they're going to gerrymander it. So on net, the redistricting, the census is costing the Dems 5, at least around 5 seats just for the redistricting. And their majority right now is 6, aka 3 flipped seats. So the Democrats are in big trouble just from this redistricting. And it's an absolute catastrophe. And I've seen a lot of people being like, well, you know, it could have been worse. And it absolutely could have been worse. But could have been worse. You know, it's like if you go in for a cancer diagnosis and they say, well, your pancreatic cancer has spread to your lungs, your lymph nodes, and you know, we can't treat it. And then you're like, well, it could have spread to my brain, could have spread to my heart, could have been worse. Yeah, motherfucker, but the condition is terminal. You're not coming out of this one. When do the actual new seats actually take effect? 2022. If they cared about it, they would pass H.R. 1, which means ending the filibuster. And Schumer, when interviewed, was looking for a latest possible date to try because he doesn't have the votes. How long will the majority of this country be told what to do by the minority? Are the rules such as the minority can sustain its control for decades? Oh, absolutely. In fact, we're probably at the high water mark of Democratic Party control right now. The Democrats can't win the Senate in the long run if current trends continue, or the Democrats will never control the Senate again in our lifetimes. I'll show you. I'll show you. If we go and we look, like, for example, Montana has a Democrat, West Virginia has a Democrat, Ohio has a Democrat. That's not sustainable, honestly. Like, we're going to lose. Eventually, Sherrod Brown is going to lose. Eventually, Joe Manchin is going to lose. Eventually, John Tester is going to lose. We're at a 50-50 Senate right now, and there's really no pickups. There's really not a lot of good targets, being quite honest with you. Like, Iowa has pretty much slipped away. Indiana has slipped away. Ohio has slipped away. I mean, there's one seat in Maine that's maybe a target, but that's not enough. There's just not enough seats to target that are realistic, unless, like, really, really big swings happen. These are all states, like North Carolina, but that's kind of, like, not panning out. Like, North Carolina is, like, maybe the target, but it's not panning out. The Republicans have done very well at, like, maintaining in North Carolina. I mean, Trump won. So what about the guy on Twitter who wants to make Cuba a new state? Surely they would. You mean the neocon? I mean, I have faith in Sherrod Brown. I have faith in I mean, Wisconsin's the other target, right? So we have Wisconsin as a target, Maine as a target, maybe North Carolina. But on net, we have Pennsylvania as a target, right? On net, the Democrats' best case scenario is somewhere around 50-50. And that's if they don't lose anything in a purple state, really. And they've got to play defense in Michigan. That's a very concerning state. Just really, really pessimistic about the Senate. The only hope is to make DC and Puerto Rico states. Exactly. If DC is not made a state, if Puerto Rico are not made states, the Democratic Party is in such big trouble in the Senate over the long run. I don't know what to say. And the House is not much better because the Republicans have so much gerrymandering ability. Like, the fact that Democrats can't gerrymander California, but Republicans can gerrymander Texas is probably around at least 10 seats advantage for the Republicans. So, like, I'm not trying to be a doomer. I'm just trying to show you that, like, this is the reality of, like, okay, the Dems pick up a seat in Pennsylvania. Tester, I mean, when is Tester's next election? I think it's 2024, right? Yeah. Tester is going to be running for re-election in Montana in 2024, a presidential year. That's a big problem, man. Because the growth in Montana is where the oil fields are. And the oil field people, I don't have to inform you this, chat, but oil field people vote Republican. If H.R. 1 passes, would this be prevented? Well, the thing that H.R. 1 would do would be ban political gerrymandering. So on net, now this is old data. If you look at 538 and you make things, if you tried to make things, you know, fair, depending on how you do it, right? Like, then it would be fair elections every year, right? But if you gerrymander to favor Republicans, they're going to win every time. Now, obviously, they're not going to gerrymander, you know, Oregon. But here's an example. Oregon is a very blue state, right? Oregon is a very blue state. But if you gerrymander Oregon in favor of Republicans, you end up with 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats. And that's what's happening in Michigan. That is what's happening in, you know, Florida. That's what's happening in North Carolina. Here, I'll show you. Let's go to the current map, North Carolina. 3 Democrat seats, 10 Republican seats. That's right now. That's right now. Because the Republicans gerrymandered it. This is what a fair districts would look like. You would have 4 safe Democratic seats, 7 safe Republican seats, and 2 competitive. Or if you wanted highly competitive districts, you could have literally 10 competitive seats and 3 safe Republican seats. If you wanted to make it compact. So, like, if you gerrymandered it to favor Democrats, 8-5. 8 safe Democrat seats, 5. Do you see how the districting is the thing that matters? The districting is the thing that actually matters. And right now, H.R. 1 is the only thing that can stop shit like this from happening. And the Republicans are going to get in control, and they're going to take into account the way the voters changed in 2020, and they're going to do this. By the way, notice that there's no change between North Carolina's current map and you tell the algorithm, hey, gerrymander it to favor Republicans. There's no change. I mean, the map districts change, but the results don't because they're trying to make it even more safe Republican. And North Carolina is gaining a seat. So who do you think is going to benefit from that? How does the site make fair districts? They have different goals, right? So if you want to make it to match the partisan breakdown of the electorate of the state as an overall, they would draw districts like this. If you wanted to promote highly, so what your goals are determines what the districts are. If you want to have a bunch of 50-50 seats, you can do that. If you want to have majority minority districts, you could do that. If you want to make them compact, you could do that. Right? It depends on what your goals are. And if your goal is to gerrymander in favor of Republicans, that's what they're going to do. And that's what most of these states are like. Let's go look at Florida. Current district boundaries, 12-5-10. Gerrymander in favor of Republicans. So right now, I think this actually got worse. So look at this. They're going to make it worse. That's going to happen. Where else do the Republicans have control right now? Oh, Texas. Oh, here's a great example. Current district boundaries. Gerrymander in favor of Republicans. The algorithm cannot even they can gain 1 seat. For the 2 seats on net. So this is what Texas is gaining 2 seats. They're going to be gerrymandered to favor Republicans. That's in the plus column. Look at if you did it the other way. Look what you could do. You could put 20 Democrats out of Texas right now if you gerrymandered it. If you tried to make it fair, the Democrats would gain 5 seats from the gerrymandering Republicans, or they would gain a significant amount of seats from it being drawn fairly. If they wanted, they could have 22 competitive seats in Texas. And this is why the districting is more important than any other factor. What's another state? What's another state where we're looking at? Oh, let's look at Ohio. Go to Ohio, current map. 4-10. The new maps. This is the type of shit you're going to expect. This is the type of shit you need to learn to accept. If somebody doesn't do something to stop it, it doesn't matter if the Democrats get way more votes. The districts will be drawn so that and how does this work? They put all of the voters into one. So say you have 10 people that are Republican and 10 people that are Democrat. And you have 4 seats, right? A fair result would be 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. But if you put 5 of those 10 Democrats in one seat, you could spread the other 5 Democrats among the next 3, and you could get 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Even though the votes have not changed, just depending on where you put the people. That's called packing and cracking. And the Republicans are going to be in control of it. The House is toast, and we have a bill that could stop it. It's called H.R. 1, the We the People Act. It's already passed the House. It's sitting there in the Senate that the Democrats control. Why aren't the Democrats preventing partisan gerrymandering? They have the power not to rig it for themselves, but to make it fair. We know it's going to be rigged for the Republicans. That's the status quo. That's what will happen. If the Democrats don't do something, they can make it fair, or they can let the Republicans win. And right now, they're on track to let the Republicans cheat to win. Can you explain a political party that is not even self-interested? They're not even interested in fairness. Nobody thinks this is the right thing to do, but a partisan Republican hack who doesn't care about democracy. No one looks at this and says, good idea, you should run a society that way. We do politics here every morning starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. You can watch us here on Twitch. We're the morning guy, the morning politics guy, Politics Frogs in every single day, same time, 10 a.m., day in, day out. And we carry you through your morning and early afternoon politics needs. And if you need more, Mike from PA, we have a YouTube channel. We talked about suburbs, the My Pillow guy, Ted Cruz. We talked about DSA. Amazing. Making fun of Tim Pool. Amazing. Look at all of these amazing videos. Get in there, watch them. We have me on Twitter. You got to follow me on Twitter, chat. I'm at 20,614 subs. That means I got like 40 followers on Twitter in the last day. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. Go follow us on Twitter. And of course, join the Discord, where we have an incredible community of left-wing streamers. We have left-wing community. We talk about the stream. We talk about politics. There's gaming content. It's a really awesome, supportive place. Direct action, mutual aid, and you can just let off some steam. And also, you can help produce the show. One of the things I do is I look at the links that are put into the news content suggestions chat room on the Discord. Join the Discord, come hang out, and maybe what you want me to talk about will be part of the next show.